All right, I'd like to call to order this the regular meeting of the Urbana Park District Board of Commissioners for the month of August. First item of business is remote attendance, and since we have all four commissioners here who were expected, there is none at this time. So next item is to either accept or amend the agenda.
Move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
That's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the point? Hearing none, let's do a roll call vote, starting with Cedric.
Aye.
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 And that carries unanimously. So we are now on to Roman numeral 3, public comment. And is there anyone here from the public wishing to address the board this evening? Seeing no indication of that, then we can move on to new staff introductions.
I think Corky's got an introduction, as well as Janet Sosby.
Yep. One at a time. You're first on the list tonight. So as I introduced last week, I let you know that we, our outreach and wellness manager, Elsie, had decided to leave the park district, and we are very fortunate that we have a familiar face in Jameel Jones. He joined on August 7th.
Yes.
So he's a full week and 2 days in.
Yep.
And I'll let him talk to you and give a little background on yourself. They don't know you.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure being here this evening. I've come to this meeting a few different times, with more so in a different capacity, talking about numbers for CUSR and programs and things like that. So definitely a change of pace coming and representing. So I've worked with Tim and Corky for several years, and I've always had very strong and good relationships with them. And so when the opportunity arose, it was, pretty much an easy decision to make the leap and come over and join the UPD, as I like to call it, the undisputed park district. So looking forward to learning and absorbing as much as I possibly can. It's been a great week and a half. I've had the opportunity to get 2 events under my belt already, so that was good. Played with lots of kids and gave out lots of freeze pops, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
A little bit background on myself. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I went to high school in the south suburbs of Chicago. I came down to Champaign, Urbana to attend college, and graduated several years ago. I won't say what year, but just several years ago. And you know where I've been for the last 20 plus years. And again, it's been a pleasure. Very warm reception from all of the staff. Laura has been great to work with, as well as Alex, and so I have several meetings upcoming with other managers and internal staff to get to know people a bit better and understand what's taking place regarding programming. And it's been great so far. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me here this evening to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me. My family would come, but it was bath time for my daughter, so we'll make sure you have the opportunity to see the princess at some point. So again, thank you. Looking forward to doing some really wonderful things here and joining forces with the power team and again, the undisputed park district to be.
Well, welcome. We are thrilled to have you with us, and you bring a wealth of knowledge that is just fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jameel.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Jamil.
You can go home and
Get that back.
take care of that princess now.
I gotta stay for my.
That's right, other half.
Yeah.
So just a quick on Latrice. I'll let Janet do the official, but Clay had also left us from the Phillips Recreation Office. Clay was, for his position or what he wants to do in his future, he was able to get a stay-at-home, work-from-home type job. So we hated to lose him, but we're also very excited for our new staff person, Janet.
Hi, everybody. I'm here to introduce Latrice Miller. And she also started on August 7th. So it's been kind of neat to have two new staff start together at the same time. So they like back to school buddies, so they have each other. But I will let you tell them a little bit about yourself.
My name is Latrice. I've been with the Park District for 5 years in aquatics. Just transferred over here to the Phillips Recreational Center. I don't really know what to say.
Did you grow up in Urbana?
No, I grew up in Chicago. I moved around a lot and then came here my sophomore year in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing that I like to point out, we always talk about our interns, right? So now Latrice and Charles both started as part-time staff in aquatics. And so we've kind of kept them with us. I think Charles was with aquatics for about the same amount of years before he actually started working at Phillips. So on-the-job training, and you know, that's something we want to do more and more of. But had a good opportunity for Latrice, and we're very excited to have her.
She was one of their top shift managers, so we kind of
Yeah.
took her away there for a little bit.
We kind of put the full-time on a little bit of a halt until we could.
We recognized what a strong leader she was, and so it was really exciting. We love hiring from within, and especially new young staff that will have new ideas for us and help us out with organization in the office. So we're excited.
That's fantastic.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah,
Glad you're here.
welcome.
Welcome, Latrice. Yeah.
Thank you,
I
Janet.
told her it'd be painless and quick.
At least quick.
We did good. It's quick.
Okay.
And then lastly, an award presentation.
Yes, I think Janet has one more thing.
All right. So this,
I'm going to get a photo op.
give this to Michael. This is from the Jetty Roads Day Committee. So if you weren't aware, this year was the 25th annual Jetty Roads Day. And so they, sometimes they do certificates, but I think this year, because it was the 25th annual, they actually gave us this really super lovely plaque. And so this says, with our greatest appreciation presented to Urbana Park District, we express our gratitude for your 25 years of dedicated partnership and support to the MLK Adopt a Park Committee and the MLK Jetty Roads Neighborhood Day, which was held at King Park on June 24th of 2023. So that is presented to the board.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, if we're going to do pictures, we ought to
Yeah,
get
you
the
all
board
should
You want
get
together.
it
to hop up?
together, you know?
Of course.
Our famous picture wall.
Yes,
The mugshot wall.
right.
Just a little more so you're on screen.
There you go.
Okay, are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Take one more just
Awesome.
for my unprofessional photography.
Thank you.
And I don't know, Tim, where you want to display this?
We'll find a place.
Yeah.
Should I give this to you or to Ally?
Why don't you take it for now?
At this
Maybe
point,
you
we
wanna
probably just need a
display
big
it.
wall just for all of our awards that we're constantly getting.
We need a, what is that? Award row.
That would be awesome. You get the award for the
Perfect
sweatiest Jetty
case.
Roads Day.
Okay, that takes us on then to the update report. And there was no meeting in July, so I'm assuming that's
Correct.
it for, okay. Moving on then to Roman numeral 5, the consent agenda.
Thanks, Janet.
And again, for those who may be watching a recording or whatever, it is our policy for the consent agenda is that any single commissioner can remove any or all of the items from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action. On the consent agenda this evening are the approval of minutes from the July 11 regular board meeting, the monthly reports from the departments, namely administration, planning and operations, and recreation. Action to accept the philanthropy report and gifts listed with gratitude. approval of the monthly paid accounts payable. And lastly, not a typical item on here is action to approve the Saline Branch Drainage District Agreement, which has been under review prior to this meeting. Is there any commissioner wanting to remove any of these items from the consent agenda?
I move to approve all the action items on the consent agenda and accept all the information items listed on the consent agenda in an omnibus manner.
Second.
That's moved and seconded, and we should take a roll call vote on this, and we'll start this time with Meredith.
Aye.
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 Okay, and that carries unanimously with the 4 commissioners present voting. So we can then move on to financial reports.
Welcome back. We'll jump right in as per usual, starting with the first set of reports, our revenue and expenditure reports. This is a snapshot of the prior 12-month period, the budget for the current period, and preliminary listed results for the 3 months ending July 31st, 2023. Page 1, labeled as Sum 1, is all of our funds excluding the Capital Improvements Fund. Revenues for the period were $5,090,669. Expenditures were $2,863,707. Just a couple of quick notes on this. Property taxes received so far, 3 million, just shy of 4 million essentially. We're at 44.56% in receipt of our tax monies. Just in comparison, we were just over 4 million at this point last year, $4,098,000, so 51%. So, tracking, should have gotten another distribution here. Not sure, a few days behind, I guess, but more to come.
Well, there was something in the paper about them holding back more than usual at this point in time, yeah. Okay.
But our normal third distribution we usually receive July 1st of August, and we've not seen that third distribution quite yet. So, coming, it is coming. But the end result here is that we do have a surplus after 3 months, which means that we have, meaning in excess of revenues over expenditures paid of $2,226,961. Also, just another quick note, I may or may not see it, but the second line item in revenues is interest. It's showing as negative in that third column. Sounds not accurate, but it is true, and it is due to our end-of-year accrual adjustments that we have to make for the auditors. So we have to post accrued interest, and then we would on 4/30, and then reverse it off on 5/1. That literally was about $50,000 in interest that will be coming in FY24. Had to book it, reverse it off. So really that number where it says negative $2,700 is really about a positive $46,000 right now for true interest earned to July 31st. So just made you look a little different. Page 2, Sum 2. This is the Capital Improvement Fund standalone. Revenues were $2,229,702. And we had expenditures of $291,495. Revenues exceed expenditures, yay, resulting in a surplus of $1,938,208. And our third report is district-wide, all funds. And just noting here that the ending balance is $17,989,457. And of course, the remaining reports are the remaining individual funds for our 3 working funds, General Rec Museum, and then the last page is the Indoor Pool UIAC. Second set of reports, our treasurer's report. This report shows the amount of cash the district has on one day, July 31st, 2023. All 25 funds are listed down the left, where all the funds are listed across the top. And bottom right-hand corner, investments on this date total $20,591,018. Moving to page 2, the top section indicates where The amounts that we have listed in interest-bearing accounts, of that 20,591,000. Total dollars on hand, 13,109,628, is out in investments at really great varying rates. And then the bottom section of page 2 is our interfund loans, and all interfund transfers that were made during April, May, and June that we had to make to cover until the school district paid their contribution. All that's been returned to the rec fund. The school district paid promptly as soon as I billed them, and all funds have been received as of July 21st. And then page 3 is the last section of the treasurer's report. This lists distributions for the month of July. Vendor payments match the accounts payable in the consent agenda, and total disbursements of funds, which include all payroll and vendors, $1,237,939.43. And again, as the tax monies come in, you'll see CUSR is being paid out as a vendor payment. And as soon as that tax money comes in, we immediately are reimbursing CUSR. We paid them $124,000 of their $278,000 levied. And I present to you the treasurer's report for audit.
Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report for audit?
I move to accept the treasurer's report for audit.
Second.
That's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or any questions? Hearing none, let's do a roll call vote, starting with Cedric.
Aye.
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 And that carries unanimously as well.
All right, moving on to the capital budget reports. The areas that are highlighted with the asterisk symbol any new activity during the month of July. Our first report is the 2019A, and this one has expenditures only for the period of $5,267, which was expensed to Farnsworth regarding Weaver planning. The next 3 line items listed here are a total of $218,449. This was expensed to core number 2 for construction towards health and wellness. Of that, $136,249 was using the park grant money, $36,784 DCEO grant money, and $45,416 through the donations. And then an additional expense to Amarin for $15,909, and that was for health and wellness utility work. Expenditures, we had a couple of small receipts under the hazard tree projects, $132 for phosphite applications and $152 for insect management injections. And directly below that, under construction crew, $42 for paint brushes and anchors. And then towards the bottom, just a little expenditure for a new backhoe. The net effect is $112,000. We paid $162,000. We had a $50,000 trade-in. 2022. Again, just a couple of small tabs here. Under tributes and donations, $75 for a nameplate, and $7,855 expensed to Fairgram towards the Crystal Lake Broadway project being funded through the ITEP grant. 2021, there was no activity during July. And then 2020, the only expenditure here was $75 to Fair for CAD equipment, and I don't know if you guys know what CAD is. It's computer aided design. I'm not sure if equipment was the right word. I don't know. Andy might be able to clear. I don't know if it's software or an update, or I'm not really sure exactly what that $75 went towards, but it was only $75.
That's a reimbursable above their contracted price. There's reimbursables that we have to pay occasionally, and that's what that is. They had a CAD technician, I think, out.
And you would have the answer. All right, and the 2019 budget is $10,000 for our ADA consultant, Skolsky. That is a nice light don't get used to it, capital expenditure. Over to Andy and Derek for,
Yeah, I thought we were building some things.
And I have some pictures.
pictures. I'm gonna start bringing some pictures. I don't know what they'd be, but I'm gonna
Just like a picture of this report, right?
So this out at the health and wellness site. So since our last meeting, Core has their trailer delivered now, which they've been looking forward to for quite a bit. Unfortunately, they do not have the power hooked up to it, so they have no air conditioning at this point. And then on the image on the right, you can see a lot of the rock base here. This is the parking lot, so we're looking towards the sled hill.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the rain garden in between the two main bays. And kind of a main focus of the last few weeks has been utility work. These are a couple images for the sanitary line that heads through in between a couple soccer fields at Prairie, and then crosses Art Bartel Road, then heads up north and connects a little further down the road. And that work was completed, and they may have just completed the storm line work that goes from the building to the detention basin on the north side of the project site. This is the storm backfill image here, and this is actually more of the sanitary work that was going through Prairie site. I think you can maybe see the ball field fencing over here. And I was going to try a video here. So Derek had talked with Kayla, who has her license for drone footage, and her and Keenan have gone out every 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe when there's good changes at the site, they'll go out and do a video. Core also does a monthly drone shot, and so this is from Kayla and Keenan here. I was going to share it. So here's the detention basin, basically a soil stockpile, and now you can start to see, if it moves, the parking lot. So that earlier image was basically, I think I was standing right over here, looking this way, and we'll see if it goes through more. Oh, this is okay. And here's our building, and you can see their trailer. Our electrical panel, there's going to be some work associated with this panel next week. It'll relocate it. So there's a little, if you remember, little drive that goes behind the building. So here it's coming behind. Garbage enclosure in this area here. And that pretty much takes us to it. And here's Washington, of course, and an extra little bit of footage of the baseball field, I guess. So Core's, like I said, doing that monthly as well, and Keenan and Kayla will continue to go out there and do some more, in addition to all the pictures we're taking, and Core takes as well and uploads and shares with us. So we've got quite a bit of information to gather and that we're saving. And here's my backup plan in case the video completely failed. I would just show you this. So next project, this is with the sanitary bridge in Crystal Lake Park. We had a couple site meetings with Stark and the sanitary district and ERA over the course of the past few weeks. They're really getting ready to engage out at the site, so much so that we'll actually have our first road closure. And so this is the triangle to the west of the lake house. So the middle of next week, the plan is our first temporary closure. And they'll close it off here and then basically split this parking lot area here. So people can still access basically every portion of the park and be able to turn around here and head back to Broadway if needed. And then we'll still have access to the lake house and back out. But Stark's anticipating 3 days of a closure. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. And they're going to start doing their pilings for the new bridge in this area and getting things prepared for when they have that bridge delivered, which if they have a date for that, I do not know it. Last I talked to them, they were not given a specific date for when that bridge would be delivered at this point. So then they will set up the area for the new bridge, and then we're anticipating after Labor Day at some point doing basically the same closure, but this may be for multiple weeks, you know, depending on weather and how things progress, doing the installation of the new bridge. Once they get the new bridge put in, the final thing they'll do is the demo of the old bridge. We may or may not have some lowering of the lake needed. When I met with Stark last week, they were thinking maybe just a few feet, and not like a full-scale drawdown like we've done for the rehab project in the past. But we'll get more information on that, and I'll update you at the next meeting. And then last kind of big project to update on is Prairie Play replacement. So we had our kickoff meeting with Upland Design, Rifestech Reed Architects, and ERA. It was a site meeting on August 3rd. At that time, we were basically just confirming a lot of our color selections, site furniture, getting an overall overview and plan for our bidding process, procurement process. And so I just wanted to share that schedule with the board. So it starts with, you know, our kickoff meeting that happened on the 3rd. And then we're planning on coming back to the board in October for an approval of the equipment. So they're still seeing long lead times for much of the playground equipment itself. So our intention then is to take to the board the approval for the purchase of the equipment. And then similarly to how we did the pool pack at the indoor pool, once we have an awarded contractor for installation, we will deliver that purchase order to them. So they will receive the equipment and store it and then be able to take it to site. And we're just kind of setting up everything to prepare for those lead times. So then the actual bid timeline for that installation contractor would be, we plan on going out to bid in December, doing an opening in late January, and leaving us a couple weeks from that opening breathing room so we can get everything prepared for a board approval in February. And then we'll have all of our contract documents and everything rolling after that. And we hope to be starting construction in April, maybe early May. And so kind of the other portion of this is timeline for demo, which will not be part of that installation contract, and then the paver return process. And that is something that we're anticipating to happen between the time the board approves the installation contractor and the time that we would be ready for the site to go to construction. So basically what we're trying to do is have as minimal interruption and blockage of the playground as possible. So we're going to keep it open as long as we can, basically. So
And then who is going to do the demolition?
we think we have a donor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're still waiting on, you know, the signed agreement, so don't want to spill the beans until we're sure, but there's the UPF has done a great job of identifying some folks that want to help with the demolition.
So as part of this project too, I'll just remind you, it's, you know, we do have an OSLIDE grant. We are looking at doing some improvements to the pavilion as well, not just the playground, and we'll also be looking at doing some improving to the parking lot. And then we'll have bid alternates included, so we'll try to get as much done as we can with our budget and how well we do fundraising.
We're doing really well fundraising on the private side, so things are looking very promising.
So, unless there's any questions, that's the last one I was going to go over.
Well, the other thing I thought I'd mention is that we are still doing work with Farnsworth on the master plans for Weaver and Prairie Park. We've got 2 refined concepts right now. We'll have a public meeting a week from tomorrow. It'll be a recorded virtual public meeting, so people who can't attend can watch it later. And there'll be a survey that will come out afterwards. We'll have that survey open for about 3 weeks, and then tally the results and make some tweaks to the preferred concept. We plan on bringing the early results back to you all at the September study session. We won't have them final at that point, but just review with you what we're hearing. And then at the October study session, we'll have essentially the draft final vision book for the project to share with you all.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, then we can move on to the executive director's report.
Great. We'll start out with our last summer month of pool updates. Corky's got some facts,
Yeah.
figures for us.
So for starters, like I mentioned last meeting, the members like Pool Pass, when they come through and scan, we're still having some pretty big issues with, they're getting in through the scanner, but it's not reading all the time to our active system. So rather than give you false numbers, I'm not going to give you any numbers on that. I'll give you the big numbers that really count. So admission numbers, so daily people coming in and paying. Last year we had 29,791 at this time. This year we're at 31,648. Dollars and cents, we had $307,620 last year at this time. And as of to date, we're at 324,704. So another good year so far. And we are, anybody has wood, knock on it, we have a pretty full schedule of guards through the rest of the year. So it's been a long time since we have had a group of staff that actually hang out and work the full summer. Now, they still have to show up to every shift, but so far we're looking pretty good, and our last day is on Labor Day itself. And we then will open up the indoor pool the next day, and Leslie is telling me that over half of our rental slots are already full for September. So that process is working, and we really haven't gotten into that season yet. So feeling pretty good about how that's going so far.
Good on the revenue side.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
And are the guards transitioning to the indoor pool? Some of them?
Some of them, yes. That's the great thing about having the indoor and the outdoor, is we can offer that. Latrice was one of those who would go from the summer to the indoor in the fall and winter. So not all of them do. A lot of them, are in college or high school and have sports and other activities. So it's looking decent as far as the number that are going to stick around with us. So
That's great, right?
Great.
That's all
It's
I
been a
got.
great pool season. Appreciate everyone's hard work and commitment to the customer. All right, we'll go ahead and continue. Just want to continue to praise staff. So many thanks for this great season. Heard lots of comments from the public on aquatics, all of our camp programs, parks in general, the office staff, people getting help when needed. Probably other compliments. Those are the ones I heard. Certainly, I'm sure others had others as well. So we're very pleased. Had a really great crew this year. You probably saw the art fair got a little wet this year. It still continued. Just really grateful to all the artists and the staff and Janet's attitude of, as long as there were people out there interested in buying art, the artists were going to stay there, and they sort of weathered that. So we really appreciate that. I think we do a really great job. We got a lot of good feedback on the new location this year. I think that's going to work. Probably we're saying it's our permanent location. That's yet to be seen, but works well. It's in the front of the park. It's got a nice, view from Park Street. You can sort of see the whole thing from the street, so it's easy to get there, and I think that's going to work out really well. So very grateful for that. Just a quick KRT update. That's Kickapoo Rail Trail. Our key staff is working with the steering team, as you know. We're working on some land acquisition, some parcels of land that would be used as connectors to the trail, so we're very excited. We'll announce once we have final information on that. We're working together on the DCO grants. That's to build the additional remaining trails in Vermilion and Champaign counties and the trailhead facility at Weaver Park. So we'll be getting that underway shortly, so we're very excited about that. Derek's kept you up to date on the Baker's Lane ITEP project from the city. So what I'm really leaning in is things are going to really change at Weaver Park. We're going to see a new trail put in that's going to be a major connector between Maine and Washington. The trailhead facility will bring immediate people to the park, activities, use. So we're very, very excited, and that's coming in the near future. So thinking of all the years ago when we first acquired the property, and then we thought of future development, we're now getting there. So that says a lot about land acquisition, planning for the future, having parks for the future. You can sort of see the order of acquisition, planning, development, and then opening. And we'll continue with that. So it's very exciting. Let's see. Just a quick mention, Heartland Pathways. You may not be aware, but Dave Monk, who passed several months ago, he's a well-known figure in the community, had quietly and privately acquired a number of trail corridors, rights, access. So there's, about a 50-mile potential network that kind of goes west of Champaign over into Piatt County toward Clinton and Monticello in that area. So one of the things I know our KRT Friends group is working on is there potential, is there gas in the tank where that group, perhaps our steering committee, could have some oversight into that. While that's big, scary, and it's really beyond maybe Vermilion County and Urbana, there's no one available to work on trails. There's no state network. There's no groups out there that you can call, come help, come secure. So it's pretty much our frontline staff. And if we're not active, some of these could go away. There's, as you know, with trail work, often disputes over different land matters. So if you're not very aggressive and stick with it, you might find pieces that peel off or get reclaimed. So we're in those discussions. Again, we'd be leaning on the Friends group to kind of lead that effort, but I think there's a lot of potential. If you can imagine going from essentially the edge of Illinois, edge of Indiana, clear over to literally the middle of the state of Illinois on a trail network, it's worth investigating. So we'll keep everyone up to speed on that and kind of see where that piece of the trail puzzle goes. Derek mentioned the event August 23rd for Weaver Prairie Master Plan, so we look forward to a lot of good input on that. Just want to mention the success of youth theater this summer. We had about 92 kids involved. We have a no-cut policy. Little challenge, Matt Lewis is the leader of that program. As you know, he fell ill early this summer, was not able to lead that. Heather Britsky, our office manager at Phillips, took over the project and really for her first time did a fabulous job. So we had sold out performances. I think most of the kids and families really had a really good experience. So looking forward to next year. Rumor is they may be looking at Oliver as a potential, but certainly more time and effort to go into that to secure the rights. Moving along, Corky and I attended another community compact meeting with the university and local leaders. This meeting was focused on health and wellness, so obviously a good opportunity for us. I think the group identified 7 key areas that they're going to be focusing in just that areas. There's other areas that look at multiple aspects of what the compact's involved with. Probably our relation is more in the health and wellness. We're eagerly trying to attract any support and help to the health and wellness facility, whether it's program, monetary, volunteer, what have you. So we'll continue to stay involved with that group and see what we can learn there. A couple other quick updates. As you probably heard, we have a new police chief in Urbana. Larry Boone has been selected as a new chief. We'll be meeting with him, talking about Park District activities and getting the new chief up to speed, so we look forward to that. We'd love to try to have him come to UPDAC as well. Thought it'd make a good impression with that group and kind of get to know some of the local leaders. So we look forward to that. Let's see, Champaign County First is starting our lobby efforts looking at Springfield. So we'll be probably making some efforts later this fall to visit with legislators down there. So we look forward to that. Lastly, I think it's in the correspondence file. There's a new brochure for the Wandell Sculpture Garden. Just a little side note, we've kind of got a few people in the community, friends of ours, Roger Diggs, Robin Hall, myself, Kelsey, and Chris Shearer are interested in trying, if possible, if there's any of the artwork that's currently in the community, any of the work that's related to the 25th anniversary that may be of interest to the community, if we could find a buyer now is the time to start that. So the brochure was created as a way to help promote that. Certainly they're out talking with people, just making inquiries. We also noted, it's a little challenging to do additional fundraising because we have our health and wellness just completed, Prairie Play's on the cusp. So we're kind of just to reassure both foundation and board members, it's more of a quiet, who do we know, who might be interested in approaching, but not a mass appeal or a campaign approach. We got to save those for the key projects. I think that's all I had. I can answer any questions if you have any about anything else.
Okay, appears there are no questions. Move on to the president's report. As I've been away, I don't have a whole lot to report on other than upcoming meetings. And September 5th is our beginning efficiency meeting, which will be followed immediately by the board study session later that evening. And on September 12th, the regular board meeting. And the only item I see listed here so far for that agenda is appointing a new UPDEC class, but I'm sure there will be other items by the time we get there. And that's all I have in the way of a president's report tonight. Moving on to liaison reports. The Finance Study Group did meet on the 3rd of August, and we discussed, among other things, the Reichard agreement, which is on the agenda for later in this meeting, some of the KRT land acquisition and funding issues as well. And lastly, the bridge agreement, which we just approved as part of the consent agenda. I'm not recalling what additional might have been there, but that meeting went on for a while, so there may have been a few other things that came up for some discussion, but I think that's the bulk of it. And the next meeting is scheduled for August 31. I noticed the policy study group has not needed to meet.
No, that's
Okay.
correct.
And Roger is ill and so was not able to attend tonight. I don't know if he made it to Parks Foundation
He
meeting.
did not. He asked me to provide his report, and there wasn't a whole lot of major activities related to fundraising, so there wasn't a whole lot to add, but I was there at the meeting.
And then the UPDEC planning study group. Lauren Cedric, you've got...
I
guess
believe
you-
that we're meeting on the 22nd before the following UPDEC meeting, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Then I think we are ready to move on to old business, and the only old business is anything we removed from the consent agenda, which is exactly nothing. So let's go to new business. And first item is action to approve the aforementioned Reichard gift agreement for Blair Park.
So I move to approve the Reichart family gift agreement for Blair Park.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Was there any discussion or questions with regards to this agreement? I mean, I did have one small question as to detail. I mean, down the third paragraph under item 4 says any remaining set-aside construction contingency funds that are not needed for project completion and that remain unspent at the end of the project will reduce the local match, donor portion, by 50%, and the state grant portion of the project by 50%. So the contingency is all going to be included in the total value of the grant?
Correct.
Plus match? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why the wording.
It reduces the exposure of the park district, and we've got a pretty handsome contingency on this project to make sure we really knew this needed to be a donor-driven project. We had limited capital funds to put towards it.
Okay.
And so it's unusual that we might be in a situation where we don't expend, the full amount in the grant, but there's a possibility we may in this project.
Okay. So, were there any other questions? Okay, we have the motion then before us, to do a roll call vote. Start with Meredith.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and that carries unanimously.
Thank you. We're really excited about that. I know the family's super excited and, just wanted to add their motivation, to actually do this was really based on all their life experiences that Blair Park brought to their entire extended family. To get a message out there like that, it's beautiful. And that others might, think about that in the future too.
Yeah.
Very grateful.
And then there is a corollary piece to this.
There is. As staff had agreed to write the grant as the counterpart to the family donation. So the goal would be to apply for the OSLAD grant, which is due August 31st, to provide the other matching funds for the project. If we're so fortunate, we would have a signed agreement down the road and commence the project. Obviously, if we don't get the grant, the family is not obligated in any way to continue to provide that amenity. Certainly, we would hope if the uneventful case that happened, we would have another conversation about another way to do this project. But the grant seemed like a reasonable option. There's quite a bit of money in this year's round. We hated to miss it, and we actually considered skipping a round. So this one slid in and just fit that. And I just lastly want to say thanks to the staff team. They just worked their hearts and minds out. Derek, Corky, Andy, Kelsey, we all just really dove in with the family and tried to figure out what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it. And, there's always limits with every project. So I think we were all really working in a really good spirit. Got a chance to meet their extended family and partners in the project. So just really have a good team. And lastly, just want to thanks to the foundation, because I think the tennis court project really kind of sparked a little interest in the extended generations around Blair Park. And without that project, it might not have, sort of tweaked the situation and offered an opportunity for another family to get involved. So we're very excited. We'll keep you abreast on the grant. We're hoping we would get it. We have a good record. We have a great project. So, but have to wait and see how they evaluate.
Well, then I move to approve Resolution 2023-10, authorizing the Urbana Park District OSLAD grant application for the Blair Park Revitalization Phase 2 project.
I second.
That's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions on the point? Hearing none, let's do a roll call, starting with Cedric.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
and that carries unanimously with all four commissioners voting. There was no new business removed from the consent agenda, so we're down to Roman numeral 9, comments from commissioners. Wow. I'm speechless.
Welcome back, Mike.
Right. All righty. Well, if there are no comments, then we have completed our agenda, and I will declare us adjourned.
Thanks all.
Awesome.
Appreciate your time.